Dear Matilda, it's been 3 months since the incident, and I can't take life in this bunker anymore. The specter of certain death is not so horrific as the knowledge that I will never again know your touch. Today's the day I emerge and face what's out there. Hey guys, I'm Brent Rose, writer and bearded bag boy, and today we're talking about go bags, aka bug out bags or emergency preparedness kits. Basically, they're for when the shit hits the fan and you need to GTFO ASAP. Now, it could be any type of emergency situation, from earthquake, flood, or fire, to zombie apocalypse and collapse of society, or maybe our president leads us to nuclear war because somebody made fun of him on Twitter. The point is to be covered in pretty much any situation. Now, these kits cost a lot of money to put together, and it seems crazy to me to spend that much cash on something you hope you'll never have to use. That's why my personal bug out bag doubles as a really solid camping and backpacking kit. Not only do you get to use this stuff for fun and adventure, but it also ensures that you've practiced using it all before. So if you're ever faced with a really dire situation, you're not struggling trying to figure it out for the first time. But I've put a lot of time and thought into this to include everything you need and nothing you don't. And you should be covered for just about any situation. Now let's get to it. To start off, the most essential part of a go bag is the bag itself. Because you're likely to be on foot and walking over uncertain terrain, I think you should go with a backpack setup, and personally, I recommend the Gregory Baltoro 75. It's a 75-liter pack, which means it's got plenty of room for everything we're going to recommend you carry. And it's built to carry weight and not kill your body. It has really excellent hip pads and suspension system. It also has a zip-off day pack and plenty of small pockets to organize your gear. Now, if you're a smaller person, you might want to go with a 65-liter pack, and if you're carrying more stuff, like for a child, you might want to go with something around 85 or 90 liters. Let's talk about shelter. For most people, I recommend going with a real tent. It offers a little more protection from the elements and a little bit of privacy, which could be very nice in an emergency situation. For the majority of people, I recommend the REI Half Dome 2 Plus. It's nice and compact, it's light enough, it's certainly well priced, and it gives you a good amount of headroom and storage space. It's just a really solid all-around tent. In an emergency situation, every little bit of sleep is really going to count. And that's why you want to be comfortable, but you don't want to carry too much weight. For that reason, I recommend the Thermarest Neo Air All-Season SV. It's incredibly compact when rolled up. It gives you enough padding even for side sleepers. It gives you plenty of insulation from a cold ground, and it inflates super quickly. It's awesome. Sleeping bags. Now, my absolute favorite is the Marmot Plasma 30. It's super compact, really light, and very warm. It's also stupid expensive. So for most people, I recommend going with the Kelty Cosmic Down 20. It's actually a little bit warmer, it's just a bit bigger and heavier. Both of them are really nice bags though. Did you know that humans need to drink water to survive? It's true, which is why in a disaster situation, finding clean drinking water is one of the #1 priorities. The gold standard for cleaning water is the MSR Guardian filter. It's got a high flow rate, it's strong and field repairable, and it can filter out everything your standard water filter does, but what really sets it apart is it can also filter out viruses. If a mutated zombie virus is your doomsday scenario of choice, this is the one you want. Now, if the Guardian is too expensive and you're not concerned about viruses, you can go with something lighter and cheaper like the Vapor Microfilter. You simply fill up your bag of water, screw in the filter, and it's ready to drink. It's recommended that you carry at least 3 liters of water per person per day. My favorite way to do that is the Platypus Big Zip LP. This is the 3-liter version, which gets you all of your water in one place. It also fits in the hydration pouch in the backpack, which means you can just sip as you're fleeing for safety. As a backup, I also recommend carrying a straight-up, wide-mouth 32-ounce Nalgene bottle. It's made of tough Lexan, so it's not going to break easily. It's got clear markings right on the side, and it can also carry hot liquids. As a bonus, it screws right into the MSR Guardian for easy fill-up. Now, every bug-out bag should have at least 3 days worth of food in it. That could be something as cheap and simple as dried beans and rice, or if you want to save a little bit more weight and don't mind spending the extra money, I'd go with freeze-dried meals. Rip open the top, add boiling water, and you've got a pretty tasty, well-balanced meal. But how are you going to boil all that water? Personally, I like the MSR Alpinist 2. It's a really basic cookware set. You've got 2 insulated mugs, 2 saucers to eat off of, and a pot with a strainer lid. Add in a couple of these metal Sea to Summit sporks, and you and your apocalypse sweetie are good to go. For stoves, my all-time favorite is the tried and trusted MSR Dragonfly. And it's especially good for apocalypse scenarios because it can burn almost any kind of fuel. Everything from white gas to regular old gasoline. Unlike other liquid fuel stoves, this one can actually simmer. Just because everyone you've ever loved is dead doesn't mean you should put up with burnt pancakes. So how are you going to light that stove? Well, we recommend you have at least 3 different ways to light a fire. Now, the easiest is just your simple, straight-up Bic lighter. Stormproof matches. These things are windproof and waterproof, and believe me, they will not go out on you. And for the longer-term solution, I like this magnesium bar with striker. Basically, you use your knife to shave off some magnesium powder, and then make a big-ass spark. Now let's talk about those knives. You need them for all the obvious reasons. I really like this Gerber knife because not only is it super sharp, it's got a full ting handle, so you can use the back for breaking glass if you need to. That said, if you want to go something cheaper, I really love my Mora knife. It's super strong, really sharp, and I only paid about 12 bucks for it. So if it's the end of the world, there's a very good chance the grid is going to go down, which means there are no lights. So for that reason, we recommend you carry at least 2 forms of light. For headlamps, I really like the Princeton Tech Sync. It has a ton of different modes, but unlike a lot of other headlamps, you don't have to memorize some sequence of button pushes. It just has a simple dial that changes the mode on you. As a backup, I like the Mini Maglite LED. It's small enough to fit in any pocket, and it's really bright. The LED will also make sure it lasts a good long time. There's one other flashlight that I really like carrying, and that's the Vipertech VTS 195. It's rechargeable, it's got a really bright light, and it does one other rather cool trick. That's the sound of 38 million volts coursing through these 2 contacts, and it really, really hurts. Trust me. Oh, motherfucker! Oh, that hurts. And that brings us to our most controversial topic, self-defense. Now, there are a lot of people who believe you absolutely must have a gun in your go bag. Personally, it's not my thing, but I totally get it. If you want it, do what you gotta do. Between my knives and my stun gun, I generally feel pretty well protected, but I also like to carry a slingshot. Not only can you hurt somebody from far away if you need to, but you can also hunt small game if you're really in a bind. Also great for catching food, a telescoping fishing rod. This is an 8-foot Mako Hurricane rod. Slap a cheap Shimano reel on there and you're ready to catch something. So let's talk about generating heat. You need to be able to get firewood. I really like the Gerber Survival Hatchet. Not only is it super hard and really sharp, it also has a back end that you can use as a hammer. It's a really nice piece of kit. Alternatively, if you've got something bigger to cut down, take a look at the SaberCut saw. It's basically a chainsaw where your body is the motor. You wrap it around a dead tree branch or tree trunk and just let your arms do their thing. You'll definitely burn some calories doing it, but not as many as you would if you're cutting down the whole tree with that little hatchet. We can't talk about tools without bringing up the multi-tool. My personal favorite is the Leatherman Wave. It's got 17 tools in one, but it fits nicely in the palm of your hand. It's got everything from screwdrivers to scissors and knives, so when you're in an emergency situation, take it out of your backpack and just leave it right in your pocket. Being that it's the apocalypse, the chances are good that you're going to hurt yourself at some point, which is why it's good to have a first aid kit. This is the REI Backpacker Multi-Day. It's got enough stuff for 4 people for 5 days, but you can always add your own things to it. I personally like to add a little bottle of hydrogen peroxide and the all-important toenail clippers. Also, make extra certain that you have a backup supply of any medications you take regularly. If there's something you need to survive, make sure you have some in the bag. One of the most powerful tools in your arsenal is your phone. If the grid is still up, obviously you can use it to communicate and download information. That said, you want to be prepared in case the grid goes down, which means you need to download a few apps now. There's Backcountry Navigator Topo GPS for Android or Gaia GPS for iOS. Both of them will let you download maps offline. Another app I really like for both systems is the SAS Survival app. It has tons and tons of information on how to survive in many different types of situations, and it doesn't take up the bulk of a full book in your backpack. You can also use the regular old Google Maps app and download your whole home area, so even if the grid goes down, you can find your way out of the city. For portable battery, I really like the Anker PowerCore Plus. This is the 13,400 milliamp version. That's enough to recharge your iPhone 7 6 times. It's really, really power dense and it charges fast. But how do you keep this thing charged? Well, use the power of the sun. For solar panels, I really like the Goal Zero Nomad 7 Plus. It's super compact, very lightweight. You just attach it to the outside of your backpack and it'll be putting 7 watts of power into your battery as you hike. You really don't want to have to rely on your phone for navigation though. Make sure you have a detailed map of the region you live in and make sure you know how to use a compass. This is the Brunton TrueArc 5. It's a cheap and simple compass. It's got a nice little magnifier and it's got adjustable declension. Don't wait until an emergency situation to try to learn how to use a map and compass though. Go out into the woods and practice. Two of your most valuable utility items would be paracord and duct tape. Now, paracord is basically just your super strong, thin, lightweight cord, but you can use it for repairing things, for rescuing somebody from making a splint. Definitely something you need in your case. As far as duct tape goes, I'd go with Gorilla Tape. It's just a lot stronger, it's a lot stickier, and it's gonna last you longer. Let's get into the miscellaneous but mandatory. This is the Pack Towel Personal. It's super, super compact, yet it's highly absorbent and very soft and comfortable. This is the Midland Compact Emergency Crank Radio. Also has a flashlight. Sunblock, bug spray, hand sanitizer, multi-purpose soap, a travel toothbrush, and last but not least, birth control. Do you really want another mouth to feed in the apocalypse? At least 2 sets of spare batteries, emergency contact phone numbers written out on paper, sunglasses, toilet paper, and a lightweight plastic trowel to bury that. One of the most important survival tools you can have with you is cash money. Personally, I say $500 is a pretty good amount, but it's really all about what you think you're gonna need. Then again, money might be obsolete, so whatever. Now let's talk clothes. The basic rule is you want to layer. You need an insulating layer, a rainproof layer, a hat for warmth and for shade, some strong, sturdy hiking boots, and you want some thick hiking socks. In terms of materials, avoid cotton because of the way it absorbs and retains water, and instead go with wool or some sort of synthetic fabric, which will keep you warm even when moist. Make sure you have enough for at least a few days, and don't forget that thong. So what did we learn here today? While a kit like this doesn't come cheap, not only do you have everything you need to survive a really bad situation, you've got everything you need to have a really great time in one of our many amazing national parks. Also, scale to the size of your crew. If it's just you, you're gonna need less. If you have a family of 7, you're gonna wanna divide up the weight depending on each person's carrying ability. These are my personal favorites, but what do you think? Is there something I'm missing? Let us know in the comments below. Subscribe to Wired if you haven't already. With all that being said, there's really only one thing left to do. Dear Matilda, today's the day I emerge and face what's out there. I love you, Brent. I f***ed up.